This is DBTV. I'm here with Albiera Antinori, the Vice President of Marchese Antinori and daughter of Piero, who are the founder of Tinanello, who is very pivotal in the Super Tuscan movement. So Albiera, how are things progressing with Italian wine in the Far East? Do you think there's kind of the market for high-end Italian wine is growing?
Absolutely. I think, if you look at numbers of global market consumption, the possibility of growth is obviously in those countries from all the Asian markets, and I think that there is the ample possibility of growth for high-end wines and good also a little bit less expensive wines, as long as they represent well the territory where they're coming from, and as long as the communication and the explanation of these wines is well done.
Yeah, and obviously kind of Bordeaux lately, the prices have gone through the roof. Do you think the so-called Super Tuscans now represent kind of relative value compared to these Bordeaux wines?
Well, seeing the prices that they have reached in the last auctions in Asia, yes, I think, this has happened also in other countries, and in past years Italian wines do have generally a quality price ratio that is very interesting at all levels. Okay,
and what are your kind of latest developments? Any experimentations going on in terms of winemaking, or?
Well, we have obviously lots of things going on, from advanced experimentations to improving what we already have. This is part of our everyday life, of our everyday let's say, or even it's the nice part of this job.
Sure.
You're looking for new parcels of vineyards, better way to find equilibrium in the vineyards we have, new things to try and experiment in the cellar. I think there is ample margin to get always our wines better. Another thing that we can say is that we are in the verge of finishing our new cellar in the Chianti Classico area, which is going to be very interesting for us, because it's the first time that we have a cellar that is open to the public, because until now we never had the possibility, even for legal reasons. I mean, a wine cellar, if you have people going around, it can be dangerous.
Sure.
This cellar, which is going to be the cellar for all our Chianti Classicos, the offices, our headquarters, and it will be open to explain and teach and show whoever wants how wine is made in Tuscany, and especially in Chianti Classico.
Okay, and you guys have been investing quite heavily outside of Italy, in Chile, I believe. And how's your plot in Romania going? You've got 20 hectares there, I think.
Yes. Well, I think the idea behind all these investments outside of Italy has always been more drawn by the interest of understanding how different lands, different varieties, different climates, different people work with something that we know quite well, that is part of our DNA.
Yeah.
So talking about Romania, it is a very small project but very interesting, and it's a good way to see, again, as I said, what happens in places. Romania was traditionally, at the time of the Romans, producing wine, so very similar cultures in a certain way. So very interesting, and I have this variety which is called Feteasca Nigra that is particularly interesting. So
okay, is that a red grape? Or?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think Romania has potential to be a great wine region one day? Or?
I think it does. But there are many areas around the world that can have great potential to produce great wines, or even more simple wines, and Romania is one of these.
Okay. Obviously, Super Tuscans, a lot of talk about those. Where do you think there's anywhere else in Italy that might be producing the Super Tuscans of the future, the so-called Super Tuscans, or would you see it as a region outside? Somebody said the Douro perhaps might be producing that kind of style wine.
Yeah, well, I think that Italy has a lot to be discovered still without going the other sides of the world.
Mm-hmm.
There are many areas in Italy, even in Tuscany, that can be developed and that have very good potential in soils and microclimate. I think what is interesting is, at this point, is to develop, where one can, local varieties, because in the future, many regions around the world are going to be producing great wines. What will be important and distinctive is the fact that once you put your nose into a glass, you have to be able to recognize where it's coming from, and if it's with a local variety, it has even more chances to be recognizable.
Sure. And do you think Etna might be quite exciting for that reason, because it's got the unique terroir and it's got the grapes?
Etna is a special place, and it has wines that once you taste them with the Narello Mascalese, once you taste them, you know exactly where they're coming from, because they have the charm of the south, but with a cool climate, so you can feel it. It's quite intriguing.
Sure. Okay. And finally, obviously, the three daughters, you're all very involved in the work with Antinori. Has he got any plans to kind of maybe take the reins over to you guys and retire, or?
No, luckily not. Absolutely not. Yeah. I think, my father has done so much for our business, for our winery, so much in a certain sense for Tuscan wines and for Italian wines. He has the capacity of seeing ahead what is going on, so it's vitally important that he doesn't retire.
Okay. Albiera, thank you very much.
Thank you.